Good evening, and welcome to Dan Bain's Sleepytime Mumbles podcast. You can miss. I am Dan Bain, and every episode I improvise a low stakes podcast for you to fall asleep to. It's 2025, friends, and we're at Season 6 of the project. As we all prepare to wind down for the evening, why not let ourselves be somewhat self-congratulatory at having made it this far. If you're a new listener, welcome. There's 50 episodes for you to listen to. Even more if you subscribe. But for those of you who have been here for the long haul, for the marathon of it all, who've been here since day one, we made it, I guess. I'm not quite sure where I was going with that. I've just been joined in the studio by my co-presenter, Sophie the dog, who is just making herself comfortable in her little basket. It's quite late at night. She's probably thinking, Dan, why are you still awake? You gonna go talk to yourself in the room? Okay. I'll come and be with you. But I want to be comfy. And I might just fall asleep. But first I might go and sniff the door a little bit, just in case. There are cats outside. Anyway. It's 2025. We're at Season 6. Sleepytime Mumbles. So put down your phone. Turn off your screens. Close your eyes. So now it's time to be mumbled to sleep. Season 6. Episode 1, Essential Home Maintenance. Before I begin this episode, it's important for me to point out that Sleepytime Mumbles is not an advice podcast. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I've said in the many hours now of content that you should take to heart or use as advice for your everyday life. I'm purely here to be interesting enough to listen to, but not interesting enough to care when you miss it. As such, the advice on essential home maintenance provided in this episode should be taken as anti-entertainment and not as actual practical advice on how to maintain your home environment. Producers accept no liability, etc., etc. Lawsuit, legal action, disclaimer, non-compete clause, NDA, legal terminology. If you are interested in ongoing home maintenance, you are going to require some tools. Here are some tools that you will find invaluable. Invaluable for your home maintenance and its general upkeep. That I will place them in categories. Category 1, hand tools. These are, hand tool, it's all in the name, isn't it? The tool that you have in your hand. Low requirements, no electricity, probably just the ability to grip. It's probably the number one. Hammer. You're going to have to hit things sometimes doing your maintenance. And hammer, best tool for the job. You're going to be hitting nails. Perfect tool for the job. Smash some plasterboard. Oh, great. Tap in a screw before you start screwing. Yeah, that's a little alternate kind of. Didn't see that one coming. Non-traditional use of the. Also pulling out nails. If it's, for example, a claw hammer, that's something you could also do. Okay. Next, hand tools. Screwdriver set. Yep. Good to have some screwdrivers. You can potentially skip this one by going exclusively to powered screwdrivers, but you can't use a powered screwdriver to jab under a staple that's got like a glob of carpet stuck under it, and use that to lever it off. So pluses and minuses with the different types. Obviously both sets will do the task of unscrewing or screwing in, but there are some bonuses available from the physical screwdrivers. Okay, 3. Let's move through these a little quicker. There's heaps of these tools. Obviously a wrench or a wrench set. Some people say an adjustable wrench. Look, you can buy a wrench set for the same price, and I don't know, I find an adjustable wrench sometimes not the best for gripping. Do you know what I mean? Like will slip a little bit, and you'll end up rounding off the nut. Whereas if you just have a wrench set with all the things of the standard sizes, it's a perfect fit. Much less danger of stripping the sides off the nut or the bolt that you're trying to work on. Pliers, bullnose pliers. You want to set a flat nose, or so you can go up hard against the surface. But also you probably want some needle nose pliers as well for when you need to get in pinchy. Wire cutters are a possibility, but usually both sets of pliers have like a wire cutting blade in the what would you call that? In the crotch of the legs of the I've never had to describe this before. In the upper thigh of the leg of the pliers, there's usually a blade. You can use that for if you need to strip wire or cut through wire. It's good for that. So, 50-50 on wire cutters. Allen keys or hex keys. Yep, you want a set of those. A lot of things tend to, if they have Allen keys with them, tend to come with an Allen key. So it's not hard to build up a set of them in standard sizes from assembling flat pack furniture or various stuff. But sometimes, on a rare occasion, something will turn up. It's nice to have a set of them. You're going to want a tape measure. Yep, get a tape measure. That's a useful. Yep, you need to know this. Even if you're doing no sort of precision work and just the most slapdash, sometimes you need to be like, is this 3 meters or 6 meters? You need a tape measure. You want a utility knife, big craft knife, a box cutter, sometimes known as. Yep. And also, probably in that hand tools, you're going to want a spirit level. Which, it's the thing with the little, it's got a little water thing in it with a bubble, and that's going to help you ascertain if things like shelves, angles, picture frames, that sort of thing, if they are level, if they're in relation to the earth, perpendicular. That's just hand tools. Let's move on to power tools. Now, the only recommendation I'm going to make is that if you are buying battery powered power tools, buy them all in the same brand. When you start doing this, you're making a commitment, because you don't want 4 different types of rechargeable batteries. Just get one type and try to stick with it. And honestly, for around the house, they don't need to be top of the range. Like, when you go shopping for power tools, there are kind of consumer and pros, like everything, it's consumer and prosumer, and then like, I'm a professional builder and I need this circular saw to work for 6 hours every day. You don't need that. You're going to use it at best like 10 hours a year. So don't freak out if you're like, oh gosh, I can't afford this expensive one. And also, just buy them as you need them. I got a pack of these, like a kind of grab bag of like five essential power tools in a bag, and then I've just been supplementing it as I go, as I kind of need things, and they're always there. And I've got a ton of batteries, and I can do things around the house, but also I can take them anyway. Let's talk about what these tools are. Okay, first of all, cordless drill, or sometimes called hammer drill. So this is for drilling holes, and you can use this for driving screws in. You can. But there is another option there, which I'll talk about, which is your other option, which is an impact driver. You're always going to need a cordless drill. Definitely go for that first, and because it can do the job of an impact driver as well. But impact driver is specifically for so the rotation of a drill, of a power drill, is designed to exert force forward, right, to drill, whereas the job of an impact driver, the force is exerted rotationally. Okay, so it's not pushing in or out. It's not exerting force that way. It's rotating, right? So it's actually a better tool for doing fixings with self-tapping screws, that sort of thing. So that's your duo for drilling holes and putting screws in things. Cordless drill or hammer drill, impact driver. You can go without the impact driver. You can't go without the drill. But often you get them in a double pack or something. You're going to want a circular saw. Now, this wouldn't be my next choice. But if you want to do anything with, you need to make framing or boxing or anything like that, you're kind of cutting 4x2s. You need the ability to do a lot of straight cuts through things. Circular saw is going to be your weapon of choice there. However, if you're not going to do a lot of that, or primarily curved cuts or kind of like weird shapes, a jigsaw, and you could. I've done a lot of jobs that should have been done with a circular saw, with a jigsaw, just because I have more confidence with it, to be honest. But those are your power cutters. Circular saw, you can also, if you've become a builder somehow, you can put that into a jig and turn it into a drop saw, which is what you'll see on building sites and that sort of thing. Which is the one you pull down. You put a piece of wood on it and you grab it and you pull down, and it does the same potentially angled cuts on everything. Anyway, it's a rotating blade. whereas a jigsaw is a reciprocating serrated saw blade. What else? Angle grinder, possibly my favourite power tool. Love an angle grinder. Multiple uses depending on the grinding wheel you put on it. You want to grind wood grinding wheel. Yep, great. You need to grind metal, done. Metal grinding wheel. Oh, you need to cut something? Oh, metal cutting wheel, of course. You need to cut a tile, brick, pipe, whatever. Cutting wheels. Love an angle grinder. They're a bit scary because they're like, if you're doing anything that isn't wood, you're gonna get sparks. They're gonna go all over the place. So I don't know, like, wear goggles, I guess. But it's a utility tool. You'll find, let's get the angle grinder on this. I just fairly recently, maybe a year ago, a little over a year ago, finally got a cordless angle grinder. Oh, what a treat! Love it. What else? Sander. You need a sand, some sort of sander. Little orbital sander. Probably do most things. If you're like, there's going to be a lot of sanding in my life, you can get a belt sander. Heat gun, maybe. If you've got like specialist jobs that you feel, I mean, those are kind of your critical ones, and then we start getting into kind of more specialist ones, like a heat gun. Yeah, that's a specialist tool. If you need to strip paint, or you need to melt, like, heat things to bend them, kind of melt something. What else? Like a stud finder. That's a blip blip. If you don't know how to tap a wall to find the studs, there's a machine that does it, so don't even worry. I have a battery. There was a period of time where I had to do an awful lot of caulking or sealing with silicone gel. So I have an electric caulking kind of thing, which just kind of enables it to go at a steady rate, which feels like an indulgence, to be honest. But I had a lot of it, and I hate those kind of caulking pump spring guns. I find them. Yeah. Anyway, that's power tools. They're going to be for just around the house. They're going to be useful. They're going to come in handy. Now, a lot of what you're going to be doing is painting and patching. So you're going to want paintbrushes, and these are just for detail work around the edges of things, right? You're not going to paint a wall with a paintbrush. So don't even. Yeah, you probably don't even need to buy a big paint. Also, I'll just go back to power tools. If you need to paint a fence, just buy a paint sprayer. Your life isn't worth the stress of painting it and time it'll take to paint it by hand. Just, they're cheap. Just, even if you buy a bad one, and just be like, this is I know disposable culture is not the best, but as someone who hand painted a considerable amount of fence by hand and then realised it needed another coat, just just buy a paint sprayer. Lend it to your friends, you know what I mean? They're cheap. Anyway, so you don't need big paint brushes is what I'm saying, because what you're going to do for large surfaces is you're going to need paint with rollers. So you're going to want some rollers. You want a handle that screws into it. You need a paint tray, and yeah, obviously you'll need paint, but we're talking about tools here. The other thing is, the other thing you might be needing to paint is there's a hole in the wall, which you're having a putty or plaster over, and so for that you'll want a scraper or a putty knife for smoothing that out. You can do it with something from the kitchen, like a fish slice, probably. But there's a tool that's and there's some sandpaper to smooth it out. It's probably not a job for your power electrical sander. That'll probably take a bit much out of the whole thing. Yeah. So that's a hand power paint. What else? Let's quickly talk about outdoor tools that might be useful. What are you going to need? Like a shovel, or a spade, one or the other. Pick what feels more likely. If you're more likely to dig holes, probably a spade. If you're more likely to be like, let's shift this gravel, a shovel's going to be more useful. A rake, yep. Like a hose, some sort of trimmer for hedges. You could get an electric one. You can get some big shear chopping ones, whatever. Some sort of chop, probably some secateurs. And a real useful one is maybe this is a power tool as well, but is a pressure washer. It's very useful for removing moss, lichen, general dirt from outdoor surfaces, and it's fun to use. And I used it to unblock one of my drains the other day, so that feels like it was used as a plumbing tool as well. What else? You might need a ladder. You're gonna want a broom. You want like an outdoor broom, like a big sweepy broom. You might need a light. Like if you're under the house or something, good to have a light. I quite like to have some, if you're working with power tools, probably want some goggles. You definitely want some earmuffs, ear defenders. Yeah, but I don't know, if you find yourself with all of those categories of things, you've probably been in a pretty good position to complete any home maintenance task. You have the power. Now go forth and achieve it. There was Season 6, Episode 1, Essential Home Maintenance. Sleepytime Mumbles is produced by Nurse Octopus Theatre, etc. and created and hosted, presented by me, Dan Bain. You can follow the show on social medias, but I'm really trying to get rid of those in a better place to be is on my newsletter list. List for that in the show notes. If you like the show, you could rate and review, but the best thing you can do is tell a friend who may be also still awake. Until next time, though, good night. And sleep tight.